Okay, so I'm going to put this first, and then what I did before this for today. I don't even remember what I was gonna call this video. Something about just sticking with the format, just kind of like, you know, keep up with doing what you're doing in a positive sense, right? But before I do that, I came across a video done by Tiffany Draper, who is an American black woman up in Texas, my favorite state. I don't know if she knows this, but I actually been in contact with, you would know him as Governor Rick Perry, who happens to be the Secretary of Energy of the United States of all America now. So I'm very fond of Texas because Governor Perry, Rick Perry, and I, we have a past. So in light of a foundation that I work on in an international sense, it's nice to have friends in high places. Just remember that. Right? Because I do believe that if we can spark good things happening for communities as intended through the foundation I work on, I feel pretty confident that Governor Perry, Secretary Perry, would support our initiatives. Which means we'd get federal funding at some point down the line. And if not the funding, then we'd get some strings pulled. And that's important to have when you're trying to, you know, conform to a society that doesn't want to bend in the wind. You know, society itself is pretty rigid. So when you're coming in and you're trying to do something, you know, like, you know, little park events, or, you know, you're trying to promote this, or, you know, people don't necessarily always react to it the way you think they're going to react to it, right? Because, you know, it kind of boils down to the passion that you have when you're promoting something. And everybody has their own desires, right? They all have their own ideologies and their own concerns, and, you know, okay. So anyway, I don't want to drag that out because this video is already long enough, right? Because I was over there ranting about the housing market and sitting in this house feeling, well, I didn't say today I feel trapped, but in my previous videos, you would know I feel very trapped in this house, in part because once I leave, I go into a housing market that is completely unaffordable. And there's being nothing built to accommodate families such as myself, whether as a family or whether within a certain income level, right? I'm being pushed out of my own country, basically. I've said that in the past before too, right? So I was going on about that and just, you know, woe was me, feeling sorry for myself, and like, why am I living? Like, you know, why do I have to live? What for? What is, you know, life is miserable. Life is miserable. you know, you're just like, why am I here suffering with this misery? Right? The misery doesn't go away. And I mean, it must be so that I can talk about it. I don't see nothing else for me to be here for other than for the daily grind that I do every day for my family, whether it's doing blackberry bushes or, you know, dusting out corners for spiders, or planting potatoes, or climbing up on ladders to fix rafters. And it doesn't matter what I do other than I'm doing it for my family. But outside of that, you know, like my son asked me, he says, no, I asked my son, I said, son, I'm driving down the road, he's driving, right? Well, that's when we went to go get Andre's bunk bed. And I said, son, I says, you know, gee, how would you feel if I started dating? You have to remember, people, I haven't been with a man since Tisha was 3 months old. Tisha is 21? Is it 20 or 21? I never remember. She was born in 98, right? In January of 98. Shemay was in August of 95. And so I haven't been with a man for like 21 years, basically. I've been too busy, was too busy looking after my family, doing that daily grind. And moving into this house, just the daily grind just got harder, that's all. Right? And because the economy is changing to the point where you have to have multiple people living in a house just to be able to sustain a house in terms of the cost to run it. Hydros, gas, you know, people move in, well, you know, well, yes, but you don't buy the water hoses, you don't buy the ladder, you know, you don't buy this, you don't, whatever it is, you don't buy the appliances, right? I do. You don't bring the furniture in, I do. I buy people beds. Only one person, 2 people have moved into this house with their own bed, and that was Joan. And even then, I got that bed for Joan. I brought that bed home on my car for Joan. Fuck. And then Edgar, when Edgar moved in, he came in with his own bed. But outside of that, I've bought every bed in his house, people. And then some, because, you know, I've been a parent for like 36 years, 37 years. So that's a lot of beds. And I don't even know where I was going with that one, right? I'm kind of tired. I'm just like, you know, so anyway, let's talk about this Tiffany Draper here. So what's happened? Draper, D-R-A-P-E-R, Tiffany M. Draper. Now, I've been a YouTuber since my son brought me to YouTube in 2000 and whenever it first started, he was the one who took the videos from the park events that we used to do, and he uploaded them onto YouTube, and then he said, here, Mom, here's your channel. You do something with it. And I'm like, YouTube? What's YouTube? I didn't know anything about YouTube, because in those days, I was typing out proposals to put in front of city councils and the province of British Columbia, Canada, Gordon Campbell and his caucus, right? And writing 50-50s and sending it to the province for official approval for a 1-year 50-50 to fundraise for community initiatives that were specifically designed to help the people that are out on the streets today. Anyway, it never was approved on a city level in terms of extending nightclubs for an extra hour, right? I had a nightclub that wanted to stay open till 3 versus be shut down at 2. And because the province, when they came in with their, you know, election, they said they were going to free up hotels, right, in terms of having longer hours. And I'm from the disco era, so if anyone knows anything about the disco era, you party until 5:36 in the morning in an after hours, right? So I'm okay with after hours myself, because it never injured me, people. And when it's being run correctly, it never injured me. Okay? I'm not saying that, you know, I wouldn't even put down booze cans. If they're being run properly, they're okay. So anyway, I had a nightclub that was willing to let me run a 50-50 on the weekends for a year. In addition to, I was wanting to extend their hours from 2 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the morning. So I had to put a proposal together that I sent to the city, and I had to write the 50-50. Oh my God, hold on a minute. Okay, like, I'm serious. That was my oldest son. He gets on my nerves. I tell him all the time, if you're gonna call me, don't call me when you're drinking. I told him today, I'm not talking to you right now because I'm agitated. You know, I'm having a bad day, right? And he goes, oh, well, you know, I come to the conclusion that Shemay's really good. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, but I don't believe it, you know. And I'm like, yeah, please, hold on a minute. Okay. Just going downstairs. He wanted the keys. I told him we're all feeling like shit. You're not the only one that's, you know, suffering over Shemay. Prior to talking about that, I don't even remember what I was talking about, people. I'd have to stop the camera and rewind it. So anyway, let's talk about Tiffany Draper. Okay? She made a video today, and I'm going to put it in my description box, okay? Because how I met this woman was through a different channel that I watch sometimes. And because she's been around, oh yeah, I was talking about parks and shit like that, right? And because she's been around for a long time, you know, like after a while, you know, when you're like a YouTuber and you are the creator of YouTube videos, you know, and it's been a few years, you know, you get to look at other sites and, you know, you get into other cliques and, you know, you get to know some things. You don't get to know everything, but you get to know some things. And, you know, after a while, people start to meet each other. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And it just so happens that Tiffany Draper is a YouTube community activist because she's discussed other issues in the past that affect the community, and in her case, much of what she talks about directly affects African Americans or black people in the United States of America.
Love you.
Mm-hmm.
Go downstairs.
Yeah. Okay, I love you too. Where I am up in Canada, and, you know, we don't have a lot of people out here, right? The province itself is only like 5.2 million people now, right? As a country, we're only at 38 million compared to 320 million plus the illegals. So you're pushing 400 million people in the United States. So when people rally in the United States, God, this is getting too long. This is not what I want to be talking about. Oh, I'm jumping with this, people. Anyway, she can rally the troops, whereas I can't because there are no troops in Canada. Unless, of course, you come from a specific race like the Punjabi. If you're a Punjabi and you put the call out, you're going to have 300,000 Punjabis within a day showing up. And they'll just take over the whole fucking street. Serious. Right? Outside of that, nobody else really rallies for anything. You know, you get the gay pride, people will come together for that. But that's not a rally. When we had Occupy Wall Street down here, that was being done by the union. That was being monitored by the cops. A lot of it was a dog and pony show. It brought out the people in the community to come together to make them think that they were doing something of substance, when in fact they were being blindsided by it and they were being tricked and fooled. And today, how many years later, I have video of me being at the Vancouver Occupy Wall Street. And if anything, things have gotten worse. So anyway, I don't even know why I'm talking about this stuff. Other than, you know, I don't know where her ball field is in terms of, I can't say that I can do a better job than she because I know Governor Rick Perry. Whereas she knows, well, we don't know who she knows, and we don't know how it spreads out. Right, in terms of being a YouTuber on a community activist sense, right? Because ultimately, when my son started this YouTube channel, it was to promote the foundation. The only thing that's really kept me here all these years is because my heart has never died on that thought, is in terms of the foundation will become successful if I hang in there like a dirty shirt, you know, blah, 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 you know, it's just a matter of time before people will see the light, you know, whatever it is that's had me hang on all these years, I'm still here. But it just so happened that at some point, bad things started happening to my family over a period of years. And after a while, you started to see a pattern develop. And through that pattern, I've put words where a lot of that finger pointing is direct at the public union sector, which is government employees, mainly on a provincial level, right? Or state level, I would think. As a common citizen, you know, we're the ones up shit creek without a ladder because we don't know how to protect ourselves. Well, that's where Tiffany Draper comes in. She's heard my story somehow, some way through that other YouTuber, and she's contacted me, or I contacted her. Somehow we connected, and she did an interview with me because I'm not dropping the ball on Shimei, people. I'm not. There is no justice for Shimei. There is no justice for her family. There is no justice for Uncle John, okay? And if it's happening to one family, it's happening to more families. So, why am I alive? Why am I here? Why am I having to do all this grunt work and be abused while I'm doing it? Why am I having people fucking gang stalk me? And you know the story, right? You know, I wouldn't even consider it to be bad luck, people. This is not bad luck. What happened to Uncle John, remember that, was not bad luck. He was medically kidnapped for his money and for an inheritance that he was never told about for 14 months. That was facilitated through a public union sector ministry called healthcare, right along with the banking institution. Andre was just overzealot 24-year-olds getting out of college, right? And wanting to keep with the fiscal budget in terms of, you know, they budgeted him in the month of December of 2012, and by January, they illegally apprehended him, right, from a daycare setting so that they could fiscally budget him in for at least 1 year, which he was in foster care for 15 months, as they basically played mind games with my daughter and destroyed her. And she never recovered. I have videos on that. I am not ashamed of that, people. That's why I did the videos. Because I know that there's other, well, mothers that have gone through similar situations and have watched their children deteriorate in front of their eyes and feel helpless as to what you can do to prevent the carnage. There's only so much you can do to prevent the carnage. And you have to remember, for the first 25 years of life, the brain is still developing. So a lot of this trauma that comes in when kids are young or teenagers or even young adults, you know, age 21, 22, 23, it all alters the cortisone in the brain, and it changes the actual DNA of the human being. And if you do it through generation after generation, like the Native Americans or the Native Canadians, or like the blacks when they first came in on the slave ships, generation after generation after generation, it causes effects. And I'm here to remind you of that because I seen it happen with my own family. The only thing is I could put words to it, and I had access to a camera. Is that what I started out this channel to be about? No, I did not. I did not do it for that reason, but through my, well, I'm going to buy this appliance and do a YouTube video, right? Next thing you know it, I'm talking about homeless people or whatever. So anyway, this lady has, she's helping me. She's helping me, people. She's helping me to get Shimei's story out there. Let the public determine the story, right? I would love to hear the ending of it because, to be honest with you, I'm getting tired of the bullshit. Okay? Bullshit yesterday. Don't even have $5 worth of gas. Between 3 able-bodied people with none of them having a child or children on their hip. Okay? They can drive around in a big fancy white brand new vehicle, right? Have their cell phones, but they can't come together and chip in $5 for gas so that I could work in my beat up old garage, right? And make it so that it's not so dusty around the house for everyone. Just bullshit like that, people. I'm tired of the bullshit. Right? And it goes a whole lot deeper than that. Okay? It goes, I stand my ground. I stand my ground just like I was going to go to court for Uncle John and go to jail for Uncle John. I would do the same for Shemaine. Just like I was going to go to jail, and if I had to, for Andre, I would do it for Shemaine. I'm not afraid of these people, although they like to stalk my house. Right? Where am I with my videos, people? Where do I go? What do I do? I'm at home all the time. Working. Doing something. Usually on a positive note. Right? When do I have time to stalk anybody? I don't. I don't. I might be interested in watching a video or a particular YouTuber or whatever it is. I have my favorites for whatever reason. And it's not because I'm stalking them. It's just because I'm interested in their story or their personality or what, right? You know, it's okay to like somebody. You don't have to have a whole bunch of reasons why you watch somebody on YouTube. Every now and then I'll go check in on somebody and, oh, that's what the same old, you know, and I don't go see their channel for another 6 months down the line. So, you know, what's going on between Tiffany and I, it's nothing personal. This is not personal. This is about a human being whose life was snuffed out of them before they even had a chance to get out of the fucking door. Shemaine was leaving an abusive man. Let's get that straight. So anyway, we're just going to go with the flow here, people. I have 1,700 videos to go through. That's a lot of videos. So, you know, I was always prepared that at some point, well, I've been trolled ever since Uncle John disappeared, basically. So, you know, I'm not too stressed out about it, people. I'm not, although I do question as to why I have to live my life like this. You know, I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but why? Why do I have to sit in my own house and wonder if somebody's going to sneak up on me? And I go to lock my door because I realize, oh, nobody's here. I'm by myself. Ooh. Right? It's not like I can call out for help. You know, nobody's around. Tisha took Andre out or whatever it is, right? Or even at night when the kids are sleeping. And, you know, if I'm cooking and I keep the door open and it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, holy shit, what are you doing? Give your head a shake. You know, you're just inviting trouble because the trouble is already lurking. And that's the point. The trouble is already lurking. So let's find out what this person does in his lurking time. Really, like, oh, I'm not even going to go there, okay? I'm not even going to go there right now, people. You know, winter is coming. Okay? Winter is coming. I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, you can see, there it is. If you want to go watch it, I'll post the link into the description box. Right? Breaking news, they took her organs after her boyfriend killed her. She did that a couple of months with me. Update on allegations. Well, of course, it's just an allegation. Right? Common sense tells you it's an allegation. Well, it's not an allegation that Shemaine is dead. And this is what I wrote, just so you know. Thank you so much. I'm having such a bad day. And I do appreciate what you're doing because I feel so alone with it all. And I do, people. And that's the point. I feel so alone with it all because now, this woman, she can't write what I'm going to write over the winter. Only I can do that, right? It's going to just be another notice of claim where I'm just going to file it in the Supreme Court, and I'm just going to go with the flow, people. We're going to find out how they're going to worm their way out of this one after I file it. We know what Andrew the Dragon did with Uncle John. But if you notice, have I been talking or where's the paperwork? These are professional corporations. Everything's pending in the courthouse. Right? I haven't received, I'm waiting to go to jail. Or for them to come and say I owe them $100,000. Seriously. Right? And then because I don't have $100,000 to pay them, I'll go to jail. Right? I mean, why am I here? Why am I living this kind of life? And that's two corporations. That's Fraser Health Authority and CIBC Bank. I haven't gotten anything official to say that it's been dismissed, thrown out in the garbage, burned in a fire. Nothing. It's not that I don't want to be in court, because I do. I just don't have the time to do the paperwork because I have to feed my family. And I have to look after my house and my yard. Right? But come winter, 20 pages. That's all I have to write. 20 pages. 20 pages is easy, people. You have to remember, I used to write proposals to the provincial government with the, 50-50 and all that crap. Right? I've written over 1 billion words already since I started this foundation. Right? So anyway, this lady, I asked her to help me. So, I think she did a pretty good job. Okay. On to a new day. August 25th, 2019. Obviously on the inside now. But before I begin, I want to show you these lovely jars. Do you remember these jars, people?
They should have done something already.
What if they're prolonging it? Hold on. What if they're prolonging this because of they want to see what happens with these tariff wars first?
You've got to remember a lot of these tariff wars, Mike.
This is what my mother used to use. It's how I learned to can, was with jars like this. With the rings. And she had a cold room right in the basement of the townhouse that she had built the basement, like she built it. A beautiful room in there with a laundry room, and then it had its own specific cold room, and it was in Alberta. Shelves, right? So she used to get big boxes full of pears, peaches, apples, strawberries, cherries, and that's what we would do. We would can them in jars like this with these types of lids, and then put them all into the cold room, and boy were they ever good. So that's probably where my love for canning comes in. So anyway, I found these on Facebook Market. I couldn't resist it. And the lady, I can't find it right now, but I'll hunt for it, right? She also sold me with these jars a grinder that she used, a metal grinder, that she used as a child with her own mother, and the woman was 70. So anyway, when I find it, I'll show you. So what I've done here is, after I cut back fertile myrtle, before I cut back fertile myrtle, right? Like I slimmed her right down, people. I picked some berries, so I still have some. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this one different. I'm going to get them in a pot, right? First I want to drain the juice, give them a quick rinse, right? Put everything into a pot, and then I'm going to cook it. I'm going to put it into the cheesecloth, and I'm going to drip it out that way. And then with the juice, because I said I'd try this, and I told Andre that we would begin doing this, we're going to try and make Jell-O. Blackberry Jell-O. So, I got some of this. This is gelatin. You need the gelatin to make the Jell-O, right? So, by the end of this video, hopefully, we'll have at least one bowl of Jell-O. And since I'm here, I have squash I have to can, so I'm thinking to can the squash. That's a pressure canner. And then after that, I've got a small batch of apples, right? Andre and I have been going to the tree for the last few days and nothing's been dropping. So anyway, I'm going to do probably my last batch of apples by tonight, right? At least get them cooked, right? And I'm just making applesauce with them. And then I take the better peel and I boil it separate and I make the apple peel syrup. And this is the stuff that I'm going to be eating with over the winter. And that's why I don't mind making the apple syrup, because it's tasty. And it has real sugar versus an imitation glucose. Right? I did pull out some honey, but I'm letting Andre eat this. And I'm trying to figure out a way how to give Amari bread with butter and honey. Right? But bread might be a little too crunchy for him. So you know what I'm thinking of, people? Butter cookies. Eh? Or are they called sugar cookies? They're either called butter cookies or they're called sugar cookies. But you get the point, right? So now I want to make some butter cookies, right? And as things are going to be changing in here, we're going to bring out eventually those yogurt makers, and we're going to go nuts making a bunch of yogurt. And we're going to get into making ice cream now that I have that extra little freezer, and I'm really excited about that. And we get into making, what is it called? Slushy cones. You freeze this, you put the ice in there, and you go and then you get, crushed ice. I have other contraptions that can do this, but obviously this is for Andre, right? Just to get us started, right? And we're going to make more slushy cones, right? With the blackberry juice, right?
Okay, I got here. This was sent
and puddings. I'm going to get into pudding making.
That's Mr. Leaf there. Liberal Party membership forms distributed.
But before any of that can happen, I have to finish the squash, the last batch of apples, which should be peeled and cooked by tonight. Obviously, the last batch of blackberries, which I'm going to start with. And then we've got, I just want to do some jars of potatoes. My son wants some potatoes in a potato box. I have no problem with that. But I was kind of looking forward to trying to use canned potatoes. So I'm definitely going to can a few more. And then, but the raccoons are digging them up. So I'm going to have to get out there ASAP and get them, because I've noticed, right? Something's digging them up. And, yeah. So today it's squash, making juice for Jell-O, and a slushy cone. And we'll see where we are with that in a few hours. Okay, so these ones I just got from my yard. I still have some growing. They're about that size. I have quite a few, but the plant is dying, so, the weather is changing. These are the ones I had from before. This one's in the front. I really like this one, but I don't know. Where I put them, they didn't like it. And I've only got like 2 other smaller ones. Anyway, you can see I've got lots, right? So that's what I'm going to do, people. I'm going to can some of it. Oh yeah, hold on. Do you see that? So I basically filled up the jar. I put my dehydrator away. I don't have a lot of room in this kitchen. So this I'm going to try and use over the winter, mainly for Amari, when I'm cooking for Amari, mainly. Although I'd like to try it too, right? Because if this goes good, you could do 2 jars instead of 1. So hold on. Okay, so honestly, people, I don't feel very enthusiastic about this. All I want to do, really, all I want to do is cry. Like, I am so disgusted with my government for allowing this shit to go on in communities. I was listening to somebody else that talks about the housing market, and he was having an interview with somebody, and, you know, like, men are talking because they can't afford to buy houses anymore. And this person, just the way he said it, just kind of like hit home. You know, you get these people moving in from all these different countries, and they're not even here within 6 months, and they're ripping up your neighborhood. Like, they're literally ripping up your neighborhood. That's what's happening out here, people. Neighborhood, I've taken you out for a drive. Neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood. Tree after tree after tree is being ripped up and destroyed by people on average who have been here less than a year. And many of them are the same perpetrators that do it over and over and over again and amass great wealth while they do it. And they contribute nothing back to the community unless, of course, it benefits their own particular community within their own race. I was trying to converge race and ethnic together. They only contribute to their own race and their own ethnic and religious backgrounds within their churches, mosaics, and temples. That's the reality of it. And then they bring over more, and within 6 months, more neighborhoods are being ripped apart, while children like mine are being murdered, while the cops are doing nothing about it because they've discovered that they can harvest organs illegally with immigrant doctors that come here to make money. They come here first, people, to make money. They get out of their shithole countries to come over here and milk the taxpayers of our money so that they can get rich. And because they come from shithole countries where there's so much corruption, they bring their corruption with them. And that's why organs are being harvested illegally through the facilitation of our public union sector. The police, the paramedics, the hospitals, the coroner's office, through other ministries that cover up the paper trail, people. Bodies don't embalm themselves in a hospital because it is illegal to embalm a body in a hospital. But when a body is dead, that is the only way to stop it from rotting. And even then, they cannot stop it. All they can do is slow it down. And that's why by day 8, Shimei's face was ready to fall off her skull. So I am so disgusted with the government and their employees, right along with the federal government, because the federal government is not monitoring this any more than the provincial government is. And I just want to cry, people. I just want to cry. Because it's a big mound of shit. That's all it is. Just one big mound of fucking shit. And I don't know what to do with it. All I know is that, again, people that have been here less than 6 months, oh, some of them have been here for 20 years, but they're contributing to the problem too. They're building houses saying, oh, it's a family home. 2 kids and, you know, a mom and a dad and a grandpa. But the house is like a mini apartment. Like, let's be real here, people. It's genocide in Canada. For people like my family and Uncle John, who was robbed of his family, of his real family, that he lived with for a very long, long, long time, and he didn't want to leave. But he was forced to leave because he had money that his grubby, dirty, ugly, god-awful, evil sister stole from him. Because she was in a position of union in terms of being a senior union staff. So she just, do this, I'll just pass you an envelope of this. This is what you do, because I'm going to get my brother's money by any means necessary. And the provincial government freaking knows the shit's going on because of the illegal laundering of money through the housing market. People are coming to Canada to steal houses. People are coming to Canada to steal money. People are coming to Canada to steal organs. So anyway, it just makes me want to cry. Because not only that, but I'm being gang stalked. Because the court has failed my family. The court has put Amari in jeopardy 3 times a week by having him being handed over to a man who has a history with selling drugs and doing drugs and being violent. Every time Amari comes home and he's sleepy and all he wants to do is sleep the minute he gets in the door, which is unusual because lots of times Amari's up at night with me till 10, 11, 12, but he comes home at 8:30 and he's passed right out. I really do wonder, people, if he's not being put to sleep with something, because it's unusual for him to be sleeping at 8:30 at night and not want to wake up. Right? The last time he went, that's what happened. Well, not Saturday, but the last time. It's happened a few times. And knowing where he's going and with who, right? And this dude likes to keep his you-know-what between his you-know-what, scratching him, and then go touch the baby? Like, come on. Like, our government employees should be fired. They're not protecting the public, people. They're raping the public. They're pillaging the public. That's what they're doing. Anyway, I'm going to put those in the oven very soon with some avocado oil and some salt, and I'm going to just dehydrate them on 190. This is what I'm going to can. This I'm going to bake first with butter. This is the inside after I took out this bigger seeds. The little ones are okay. And then I'm going to bake it with lots and lots of butter, right? And then I'm going to cool it, and then I'm going to bag it up into individual bags, and I'm going to freeze it. And when I make soup, I can grab one of those and add it in with a jar or whatever. And being that these are organic squash with no wax sprays or anything on them, as far as I know, right? I mean, I do have lurkers, right? Well, lurker, anyway, one for sure. So who knows? But besides that point, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to boil that up with some water, throw in a couple of carrots, a few celery stalks, and some onion, and I'm just going to make myself a vegetable broth, and then I'm going to freeze it. Because this squash tastes really good. That's the thing. So I'm going to try that, right? Because there's lots of squash in there, you know? But right now, I'm just not very enthusiastic about anything, people. Like, I'm not. Like, I don't even know why I'm alive. I don't even know why my family is alive anymore. Like, seriously, what is the point of us being here if all we are is something to be picked off at the convenience of other people's greed, right? Whether it's no housing because of other people's greed, you know, whether it's being medically kidnapped and, you know, losing your family and disappearing and dying old and alone, knowing that your family is crying for you, you know, what is the point of being alive? Other than to keep the story out there, you know, or, you know, you think your children are safe, you think everything is fine, and then 2 hours later, you know, you see your dead daughter as the paramedics come in, and they, you know, one of them fucking looked at me, and I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, you know, that bastard, he knew. When he was on the floor looking at Shimei, and then he looked up at me, and he had that little guilty boy look. Guilty boy look, people. He knew Shimei was dead. But his buddy just started pounding on Shimei's, you know, rib cage, as her body was going like this, so I'm sure they broke some ribs along the way, as the cops just monitoring the situation. You know, well, what happened? Well, I don't know. You're the fucking cop. You tell me. And they just ran with it, people. Because the system is in place with these dirty doctors that come in from these fucking skanky-ass fucking countries that nobody wants to live in anymore because they've got billions of people. They've overpopulated themselves out where they now got to come over here and repopulate and kill off the ones that they don't like. Because they don't look like them. They don't talk like them. They don't follow the same fucking religion. They don't eat the same kind of fucking food. And because we don't look and talk and eat the same kind of food like them, somehow that makes us less of people, you know, even though they're coming into our country. They're coming into our country. They're coming into our neighborhoods. They're killing our kids. They're harvesting our kids' organs. Forget this legal donation shit. There is no legal donation shit. That's just a smoke and mirrors. That's just fucking, that's just to make you feel good. Look at what's being done illegally in this country. Don't wait for your children to die like mine. And then the cops stand around and do shit about it, but want $150,000 a year in fucking wages, not to mention their stupid pension plans. Like I said, what's the point of being alive when all you are is around a bunch of fucking demons? This isn't life. This isn't life. I've been through some really shitty shit in my life, people. I've gone through some hard times. I have done things, you know, washing this and wherever I've, you know, whatever I've done, you know, but this is the worst. And the reason that it's the worst, because nothing is stopping it. That's why it is the worst. The system is in place to harvest organs now. Right? They've got the baby boomers with the cash. They've got the rich immigrants coming in within 6 months, building another fucking 15 monster homes with cash. Don't ever think that your children are safe unless, of course, you are one of them. Because even then, These people are snakes, and they will turn on you just like they turn on the Canadian people. Okay, I don't even think I was recording, people. I'm so upset. Anyway, as I was saying, this here has about 5 carrots in there. I took a bit of onion. This is a white onion. You can see not too much, right? Only reason I'm using the peels, people, is because it's organic squash, and the squash is really tasty. It's sweet. So I'm suspecting that if I do this, it will probably come out to be a very nice vegetable base. Right? That's what I'm hoping for. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and then I'm just going to freeze it. And I'll cook with it later. Right? This, once it's all cooked up and you mash it up and then you put it into soup and you take those little bullet blenders, brrr, it works really, really well. So don't underestimate the inside. All you have to do is take out the seeds, and then you get to bake the seeds after if you'd like them. Doesn't have to be just a pumpkin seed. It could be any kind of squash seed, right? And then, so anyway, I'll be back. Okay, so now it's going on 7 o'clock, and this is where I'm at. Okay? I'm debating whether I should use quart-sized jars or pint-sized jars. The difference between the two of them is 40 minutes compared to 90 minutes. I'm pretty sure I can do this at 40 minutes. But I want to get it over with, so I want to use a quart-sized jar. So I will probably do that. I have a combination of older squash and younger squash mixed up together. So, like, this one is more firm compared to say this one. This one's a little more spongy. So if you mix the two up, right? Because spaghetti squash can turn mushy. They don't recommend you to do that, but I've seen enough videos and whatever, and I've already tried a couple cans, and the heat can travel through. It doesn't pack and mush up. It will, as the jar settles and it goes into long-term storage, things tend to settle, right? But outside of that, the canning process was fine. This I'm just mucking around with. I didn't get too much juice, but I got enough for, what? Ice cream, which I got an ice cream maker, so I'm going to put the ice cream thing into the freezer now. And I've got cream, so I can make ice cream tomorrow. And we'll make it blackberry ice cream. And I'll also throw in some ice cubes, and we'll try those little ice things. And Andre has his little friend coming around, so I'm sure the boys would like that. And then this, you can see I baked it. Here's a little bit for Amari to eat later. And what I'm going to do with this now, because, you know, food costs money, this is all organic. And when you put it into a cream soup with potatoes, like the last time I made, and you take one of those little blenders, these seeds are not the other seeds. These ones are softer. But some of them can still come out. If they're just really, really tiny, wandering eye, they'll blend up. This one here, maybe not. So anyway, take out the little seeds that you don't want. I'm going to let this cool, and then I'm just going to bag it up into individual bags, little sandwich bags, and I'm just going to freeze them that way. And then as I'm making soup, I can grab a bag here, grab a bag there, and it doesn't go to waste. That's what I'm trying to say. And all I did was put some water in there, a little bit of salt, and some butter. Right? So, out of all that, what is it called? Squash? Now, hold on a minute. As I was saying, out of all that squash, which was quite a bit, That's all that's wasted. That was it. Because this is going to stew now, right, for quite a long time. And as the water is going down, I'm adding more for now, right? Because I really just want to seep this, right? So I'll probably seep it all night on maybe 2 with a lid slightly covering it or something. And then deal with it tomorrow. And it should be perfectly fine to cool and then put into your jars. And you can freeze them. And then you have the nutrients of the skins, right? Because everybody knows that's where the most nutrients are in food. However, if you're buying the squash in a grocery store that's not organic, and even then the organics, I'm sure, have something on them, I wouldn't recommend it any more than I would recommend doing apple peels, because I've done apple peels from a grocery store, and you know, I thought they were organic apples. They were sold as like kind of organic apples, and they were not. And after I was done, I could really taste the wax. So that's what I'm trying to say. You buy something in the grocery store, you try and do something like this. At the end, it's going to taste wax. You're going to taste it. So, but if you come across organic, or you can grow your own, you know, this is what you do. And then you get nutrients, and you're saving money too, right? So there's one other thing I just want to say here, and I'm going to end this video for now. As you can see, it's 7:30, and like, I've really not had a very good day today, people. I'm trying to stay productive, as you can see, right? I'm going to try and get these in by tonight. All I have to do, and that can go on to the next video, all you do is you just take a big pot and blanch them a little bit, right? Throw them into a jar with some boiling water. As you can see, I still have to boil my water, so hold on, I'll be back.